You know, I tell you, someone needs to tell him to start being a little more punctual. It is good to see everyone. Let us take a moment to stand for our prayer to be followed by our pledge. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you, Father, for the blessings of a beautiful community to live in, the peace, the harmony that's taking place, not to mention the opportunity that we are experiencing. We've had a great weekend. You have brought us through tough times. And Father, we know it's your hand of favor upon us that truly makes today great. And so, Father, today we give you the honor, the praise, and to you be the glory. Be with us as we meet, as we deliberate on things that are important to our city. And Father, just guide us in every way. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Attention, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, if you will, administer the roll call.
Yes, sir. Alderwoman Hall. Here. Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith. Alderwoman Irving.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Dillard.
Here.
You have a form, Mayor Vice President.
Thank you. We've called this meeting for several matters that needed attending to, and we will dispense with two of them and then likely go into executive session for the third. The approval of bike trail renovation by the Kiwanis Club. We are very happy to report that the Kiwanis Club has taken on the restoration of trails for our parks for a project. And I believe it's the trail specifically at Duncan Park. And Robin, you were here, I take it, representing the Kiwanis Club. And so we're going to recognize you, if you would take the podium and introduce yourself to us, and then please make your report to the board.
Okay, I'm Robin Person. I'm a board member on the Kiwanis Club, and we have we are wanting to do some trail improvements on the old mountain bike trail at Duncan Park. It is currently not being maintained very well, and we would like to use that as our community service project to sort of give it some upgrades, possibly reroute a couple of the areas that are eroded, and add some signage to it as well. We've already approached the Recreation Commission, and we have gotten approval from the Preservation Commission. So I think this is our last stop.
Wonderful, great. I know you presented to the Recreational Renewal Task Force.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
And
Yes, not
and I
the
know they were
commission.
very, very pleased. We I not to use the word commission, I think it was the task force.
Yeah, task force.
That's right, because the commission is not overseeing the city parks.
Right.
Those are being overseen internally through the city. We are excited. I think it's a great positive step forward for Natchez. And Robin, we're very grateful to the Kiwanis Club for wanting to do this. I think this is what we would call a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking to the chairwoman of our Recreation Committee, Alderwoman Hall. Would you like to make a
I would
motion?
like to make a motion that we approve the Kiwanis plans for renovation of the bike trail at Duncan Park. They have gone through the proper procedures, and I make that motion.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Second by Alderman Frazier. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, sir, I do.
Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Irving.
I just want to say this. I'm not in opposition of the Kiwanis Club. I think that's a great idea for you all to want to improve the parks. It's just that over and over again, I say this every board meeting practically, that we're not following our Open Meeting Act. When you have a public meeting with your task force, you're to record minutes. And we never get any of that information. Had that information be recorded in a task force meeting and shared with the rest of the board members, we would know this beforehand because we want to see the community involved and engaged. But again, we have no prior knowledge. This is my first time hearing this today. It's a great thing. I hope other communities want to join in and step up and do the other things in the other parts as well. And so thank you, Ms. Person, for even coming to the board.
Certainly.
Again, we should be recording minutes. That violates the Open Meeting Act for not distributing minutes to the rest of the board of these meetings. It's on page 102 in the Stennis Institute
I'm
book.
sorry, that applies,
It's for small committee meetings, Mayor. It's for everything. But we should be
we'll
recording
look
minutes.
into that,
Thank
Alderwoman.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your point.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Frazier?
I totally agree with her, but this is I want to say this is an ongoing project, right?
Yes.
So this is nothing new, but the only thing that we're requesting is that give us more information. You say that y'all finna do you might have to do some more improvements and rerouting. Only thing I would just we would like to know, when you reroute it, where or either there's a diagram or just showing us some kind of thing. Like I say, there's no opposition to. I'm like the rest of the board. There's no opposition, but I would like to know ahead of time and some of what y'all gonna do in the plans. This is my first hearing about it, and like I say, we're not opposition against it, but we hope that you get on down there and do what you want to do because the park is an asset to the community.
Well, the nature trail, which has not been maintained,
Yes,
there are some areas on the trail that are extremely eroded,
yes.
like non-passable.
Mhm.
So we would have to reroute the trail over,
Yeah.
10 feet aside.
Especially over
from
by
it.
the old swimming pool.
Yes, behind the old swimming pool.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
I'm Ms. Madam.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Any further discussion? Well, I will entertain the question.
Called.
Need a second?
Yes.
Second.
We will proceed to a vote. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you, Robin.
We look forward to
And
working on it.
please tell the Kiwanis Club thank you as well.
Thank you, Robin.
And we will keep you appraised on how everything is going.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Alderman, Alderwomen, we're going to go to the next item. We're actually a little out of sequence here. We're going to discuss a new IT contract. That other item we will have to hold until an executive session at the end. Edmund, I believe you're here. Edmund Peralt, you have been working on this, and I know we have met with a number of companies. Richard Burke, my executive director there in the mayor's office, I know you've been assisting as well, and y'all are ready to make a presentation to the board. So Edmund, you are recognized.
Thank y'all for giving me this opportunity. Before I get started, I just want to say, I want to brag on my little department. Devontae and I, but Devontae is an excellent employee, and he is a huge asset for the city. Huge asset. And I'd like to even thank Richard here because he's the one that finally has the boot that got us moving forward on this. What we're proposing today is all of our contracts of all of our different various things, our backups, our management systems, our circuits, our telephones, all of these things, our email, are month to month right now. And when I started this job, I had nothing. I didn't know how many sites I had to work at. I didn't know any IP addresses. I didn't know nothing. And it was a long fight to dig it all out. But if we could bring all of this under one umbrella, then the next IT guy, or if the city decided to go, let them do all the IT work, we wouldn't have this problem. And it would all be documented. I mean, if nothing else, they could set up something for the new guy to log on. I didn't have that. I had to go find Devontae at another job of his, and he gave me his password, which gave me a way to start. That would resolve that problem. But anyway, I'm not going to go through every one of these slides. I'll let y'all read them. If y'all want a private audience with me or ask any questions about any of them, I'm more than happy to make myself available to you. IT, I know it's grueling to listen to a nerd talk, But I do have a gift where I can give you a picture and make it simple so you'll understand where our money's going. I'm gonna go down here. We have done some things right. We do not host our own applications, like the police software is in the cloud. Springbrook is in the cloud. It's not an all-encompassing software, so it's not as expensive as a huge, massive one would be. So we've right-sized those kind of things. We can improve. We can improve in a lot of areas. One of them is communications. But we also need to be able to let other departments know what we have. If they need door access, well, then a phone system can do those things for us. We don't need to reinvent the wheels. There's a lot of things that we already have license to that we could exploit and save some money. And of course, IT is always changing. But today I'm proposing that we find one company that will combine our servers, the security, the data integrity, that means backups, the email, the voice, this is the desk phones voice, the faxing, the network, Wi-Fi, and even monitoring. It's more or less to harden our IT infrastructure. Right now we have a hodgepodge of vendors, and even our circuits, are spread out across multiple vendors. This would give the city one view. IT problem, one telephone number. Fix it. The line, we have no monitoring tools, so I don't know if the police needs a faster internet connection. I can't prove it because I have no monitoring tools. But with this, we will increase the speeds to all the buildings from about 10 megabits to 20 megabits. City Hall and the police will go to 100 megabits from 50. And our connection to the internet, the outside world, would go to 250 megabits from 50 megabits. So we will be increasing these speeds. But more importantly, we will have some insight into the performance of what we have now. Our email is currently hosted on a server in Jackson at BCI. They're turning that server off. They told me that they're going to have to migrate me to Office 365. Now, they have so far not turned it off, and I cannot lose this email, but this proposal would migrate to Office 365. New Wi-Fi access points. Right now, we have just little residential boxes and closets and stuff. They would install those wall warts on the ceiling for good coverage. We could have one ID. So if your laptop works at the police department, you can go to the fire station, it'll still work. New phones will be installed, and I think there's a picture on the back page of what the phones would look like, and it would be VoIP phones. The servers right now, most of my servers, all of them are over 5 years old. Some of them are 10 years old. So prayer and fasting has kept us going on some of these servers. But they will be consolidated at City Hall and the police department. There will be mirror images and in the cloud. So if the police department goes down or City Hall goes down, the other places will not be impacted. New network equipment right now. C-Spire owns some of our switches for the telephones, and we have a separate switch that the city owns for computers. That means I have to run 2 Ethernet wires to every desk. You don't need to do that. When I put that phone system in at the hospital, you hook your computer to that telephone. So it reduces the complexity. It also resolves a lot of other problems like little boxes in the closets all that would be eliminated. We will know we have a direct shot. We won't have a mystery as to why that's slow. Faxing can be both physical. I know a lot of people like their fax machines, but they can be, or we can have the virtual emails. I know Tennis has been wanting a fax forever, and I told him if I do that, I'm gonna have to go into a contract I've been asking them to hold off. Now we can give them a virtual fax. And my computers, I do have a slide about my grade on a security scan that was run by Ceasefire. I scored a 97 out of 100. 100 is the worst. My biggest sin is Windows 7. And that would be resolved by this. The other thing is the police software. If they release an update, that update will no longer run on Windows 7. It has to go on to Windows 10 for the police software. But that would get us off of Windows 7 completely. Why that's important is because Microsoft does not support that operating system, meaning whenever there's a bug in there, a problem, they're not going to fix it. You're on your own. You can keep using it if you want to, but there will be no patches. And I will let you look around some of those resolves and additional benefits and stuff, and the advantages of doing it this way. The change out would be interesting. It would be changing from one to the other. But these people, this is what they do for a living. It's nothing new to them. When I changed that phone system at the hospital, I had some advantage in that it was all in one building. I went from a regular old phone to the new computerized phone, so I could have both of those phones active at the same time. Well, with this, we will have to phase it in. What's not included, the wireless phones, the departmental printers, running new network drops, and police cars are not in this. And I think we will have to have a discussion at some point about our new police cars getting radios and laptops in them, or modems and laptops. Here's the money slide. I pay between $20,000 and $21,000 a month right now. We have cut out a lot of expenses. This would cut out even more. The proposed would be about $16,000 a month, and but the upfront cost is going to be $41,450. Now, the company that I'm suggesting has said that they will finance that upfront cost at 0% interest if we want to pay our current amount, $21,000 per month, to them until that upfront is paid off. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. They were willing to finance that at 0%. There are some other savings. Like I said, Transit pays about $550 a month for their telephones now. That's included in this $16,000. I mean, that is savings, additional savings that is not coming out of my budget. In other words, Transit won't have to pay that $550. I'll be paying for the phones. $180 for their internet. I will be paying for their internet. The police, they pay for a connection to the NCIC, the feds, and that can be put through a VPN tunnel. That is an important part right there, this NCIC connection. That's the connection the police have to the federal database. Since the feds own it, there's 250 pages worth of rules that I'm supposed to be following. Discovered this not too long ago, and they do come and inspect periodically. I talked to the gentleman in Jackson that is over all this, and he told me that I'm overdue for an inspection, but he would work with me. He's going to let me get CJIS certified, but he will work with me to get, I call it the sin out of my life, to get us in a position where the inspections we could pass and not have any questions. If it's bad enough, they'll yank that connection to NCIC from our police department. That scares me. On the timeline, we're on month to month on all of this stuff. So we can get out of all these contracts at any time. And that's kind of a golden thing opportunity right now. And there are so much cool stuff, and I would love to talk about every bit of it, but I won't. But just say that those VoIP phone systems, they're going to give Devontae and I access to all their stuff. So we're going to be able to get to their monitoring tools. We're going to be able to do all this stuff. There's a lot of things like the fire departments need some loud ringers. C-Spire says we can't do that. These people can. In fact, I already own the boxes that I will give it, the city, and we'll put them up out there, and it'll be a loud ringer for the city. But anyway, those color slides are the average age of our equipment and the risk score that came back from that C-Spire audit. It was a temporary, brief little audit that they did of my system. Like I said, my biggest sin right now is the age of my servers and Windows 7. Those two things would be remedied. And in the back there, I just put a bunch of slides together because none of this IT stuff has to be mysterious. It's just for your information, like what is a firewall? All these different things. Where do I spend my money? Software takes a lot, printers, the phones, all the different is where the money goes for IT, because it seems like a black hole that just sucks money out of the city. And what do you get for it, And there's some slides back here that show you, if you're interested in knowing how it works, like how a regular phone works, how the new VoIP phones work, which is what we have now. We have VoIP phones at City Hall now. These will be VoIP also. I'll show you how I'm connected now on that little hybrid thing, and some examples of, like, for instance, City Hall. This is how it works at these sites. You have servers connected to a switch, you have computers connected to a switch, you have phones connected to a switch. It's not that magic. It's just data. Video is just data. Voice is just data. A Word document is just data. And we're all beginning to realize that, and we're all moving toward a utilization type deal. Probably in our homes soon, we will pay a utilization of data. It doesn't matter if it's a movie or a telephone conversation or anything like that. It's just data. Now, thank God it's a little bit more complex than that, because otherwise you wouldn't need me. But my recommendation was the one vendor that I found that encompasses all of these things, that is willing to do this, and I haven't found anything that they would say no to. I would love to throw all of our PCs away and buy these little boxes and put them on the back of a monitor. Your PC would run on their system up there. They have to worry about the updates and all that stuff. These little boxes are cheap. You fire me and Devontae, when one goes out, you throw it away, you stick another one in there. There's a lot, but right now, we're not there. I did talk with that Mr. Thor Jewell. He used to work for VMware, who does a lot of this stuff. And I asked him, I said, is the market there, the money there for somebody like me to do this right now? He said, oh, sure. Well, of course, he'd love to sell it to me, but we're not there yet. But someday. I would like to say that none of this is a radical new approach. We've had other people who've come in and said, we're going to do that little box thing. That wasn't a wise thing back then, and that money was it's gone. We have servers that were supposed to support it, little they call them zero client boxes and stuff. But none of this proposal is that radical. You have to have a data line in and out like your ISP at home. We're upgrading those circuits to a faster speed. We're changing out the telephones. There will still be cloud-based VoIP phones, but we will have access to their systems in the cloud, which means we can provision and have do other things for us. I mean, they will have, I told you I wasn't going to go here, but they will have soft phones, meaning I could be sitting under the Hill Saloon and make a call from this phone, and it looks like it's coming from my desk phone. You know, we will have it on your computer. If you can't make it into something, you could open this application at home, and you've got your telephone right there. Video calling, the price of a webcam. You got videos. I'm thinking it's going to allow us to access our computers from home. I don't know that for a fact yet, but we can get rid of the remote PC product that we're paying for. That'll be an additional savings. The GoToMeeting software, I'm thinking that will be possible with this at no additional charge, and we can roll it in there. Chat, you want to chat with somebody or have a group chat or share your desktop with someone or advance it to a telephone call or advance it to a video call. All these things are nerd stuff. But there are a lot of things in there, a lot of value-added functions that the city, some people in the city can support. Most people are like, it's a telephone, Edmund, leave me alone. Let the phone ring and let me answer it. And I understand that, but I do try and sell, hey, look what we can do. This is cool. You know? Anyway, I do want to point out on the stewardship of the IT budget that we were under budget last year. We did recover, I've forgotten the exact amount, but I know it was over $10,000 from the virus that hit the city. This is before I was onboarded. They had a virus hit the city and take everything out. They thought they were calling BCI in Jackson to remedy the problem. They didn't. They called BCI in Rhode Island. And they came down here and fixed it. But I went to the insurance place over there where Kitty Steed, whatever works. I said, Kitty, how much is cyber insurance? Can I afford it? She said, I'll have your salesman call. I said, just give me a guess. If it's $20 a month, I want $5. If it's $50,000 a month, I'm out of the market. Give me a guess. She said, I'll have your salesman call. He called me and says, you already have the coverage. So Sevilla worked with me and we filed the claim and we recovered. I've forgotten how much, but I know it was over 10,000. There was a limit, but and Devontae and I drive our own cars, use our own phones, we use our own computers. You know, you can read on through there. I think we have been a good steward. We've tried to save every cost that we can. But at the same time, we don't have extra stuff. So if somebody needs something, a new monitor, we got to buy it. You know, we don't have extra cables, a lot of those. We don't have extra computers sitting around. We don't have a lot of that stuff. So I think we've been a good steward of what we have. And another thing is I have not contracted out. When there's a problem, I have resolved it. For instance, we have an AS400 at the police station still trying to convert. Excuse me. When it had a problem, I resolved it. It was a hardware problem. It was a back plane of the fans and stuff. I found a refurbished one, installed it myself, and we got that back up. So we really have not contracted out any consulting services or professional services or anything like that. That, you know, we do the work. And I'm very proud that Devontae is the kind of person that can think intuitively and that can think logically and figure it out. And he can come to me and I can go to him. And sometimes a nerd just needs to bounce it off the nerd. That's another thing. The company that whatever company we go with will have a server expert. They will have an email expert. They will have all different kind of experts that IT has. It's very specialized now. It's not like you got an IT nerd, they know it all. But they have those experts on staff. We don't need a server expert, but we need to have access to someone to talk to about it or to advise us and do that kind of stuff. That's huge. That's a huge thing for Devontae and I. And I give you a bunch of random information, the benefits of monitoring a network, which we don't have right now, which we would have. Foreseen expenditures. Those new police cars are going to need modems in them. And maybe a laptop. So I can foresee that perhaps coming up as far as IT goes. The transit, Ms. Bartley lost her GPS. She really wants it back. It saved a gentleman's life. She had a guy that had a medical emergency. He pulled to the side of the road. They couldn't raise him anywhere, couldn't get him. They looked on their GPS, sent the police out there, and he had had a medical event. She really wants that back. If we look at these things like the police cars would have GPS in them, maybe the economies of scale would be such that we could get her GPS, or the fire. And of course, someday I'm going to have to do e-waste recycle run. I don't know what that would cost. This is a Mississippi company. Mississippi money spent in Mississippi. I like that idea. In fact, most of the people I've talked to have been Mississippi. I've talked to several different companies and gotten prices on them, including Ceasefire. There's a company out of Connecticut that will not provide all these services, but the circuits were cheaper. A lot of them will say, yes, we can do all of that, Edmund. Let me give you a price. They come back down here and they say, this is how much we will charge for the circuits between the buildings. Now, all that other stuff you want, talk to him. And they'd bring another salesman. So it wouldn't get us to that one phone number for the city. To me, would be a huge comfort for the city to know, hey, we're not relying on any one person anymore, Anyway, I'd appreciate your consideration on that proposal. If you want any more information, like I said, I'll be happy to show you. I'll even take you to a site and show you how computers plug into the network and all the magic.
Thank you.
Right now, golf was down Friday. They're down again. Problem solved. Check mark. That would not be a problem.
Thank you, Edmund. Very good. Very good. I will ask, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Frazier?
this contract and information that he's talking about, this is what this is now. This is not something that we really could, this needs to be a lengthy conversation. We need to come back to this because the fire chief and the police chief need to be in on this, not just the board, because it's a lot of stuff we need to address. We need to address the down here at the Welcome Center, and like I said earlier, the police department. And I'm quite sure, Devontae, you've been here before when we started. You was here one time before when we started talking about these radios and the internet, correct? Do you have any ideas of what? Maybe, I'm sorry, we'll discuss it later on. Maybe you can come back before the board and discuss that. So, like I say, this is a lengthy discussion dealing with these radios, because when you're talking about the police and fire, you got to deal with the state, like you say, the NCIC and all those people in the Fed, because a lot of this information that dealing with the NCIC is information that is secret information, need to be maintained at all times. So therefore, can't anybody deal with it. And the same goes.
I will say that right now, when there is a fire alarm, the dispatch does not call a telephone on my network. These computerized VoIP phones, they don't call on that network. They have a separate old-fashioned POTS line that they call.
Yes, everything is
that
over,
cost.
yes.
I have not included in here. That would still have to be paid. I would love to look into other solutions, maybe wireless. Oh, that's another benefit. This will have a cellular backup. If the site goes down, the cellular backup will take over automatically. Now, Is it going to be as fast as 20 megabit? No, but it'll keep it going, especially voice. But anyway, that I did not put in here because I'm not comfortable right now with making the signaling for life safety. Somebody's house is on fire. It's not in here. I'd like to visit that and see if there's something we could do for them sometime. The CJIS police stuff we were talking about, all these rules apply to everybody in the city because we're all on the same network. So I will be losing a lot of friends because we're going to have to crack down on some of these security problems. Sharing IDs, booking 1, booking 2. We need to know who's logging on. They need to log on with their own IDs. Screens have to lock. Passwords have to be changed. All of these things are in this CJIS book. And there's even things like if there's a laptop in the car, I have to lock that laptop. The police officer cannot have a key. There's stuff like that. If I reset your password, I have to have a record of it and show them in an audit all the password resets we did and why. There's a ton of things in this 250 pages, but we're going to get as much of this sin out of our life as we can.
I'm going to have to say, for purposes of parliamentary procedure, for us to continue this discussion, we need a motion. And because we're discussing something, a motion has not been made yet. So I'll entertain any motion the board would like to make if we want to continue discussion.
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we entertain this motion discussion, and also that we also discuss it at a later date with the fire chief and the police chief too.
Okay.
Second.
All right. That motion has been made basically to take this under advisement to allow input from police and fire, and it has been seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Okay. Discussion on the motion. Alderwoman Irving, you had your hand up. Did you want
I
to
did.
speak?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to ask a question. I know because this has come up before with Judge Dale Jordan had mentioned that they were not in sync with the police department. So would this include her being able to communicate, the systems being able to communicate, the court?
With
I know that was an issue
which
that
court?
had came up.
The county?
The municipal court.
Oh,
Municipal court.
municipal court, they can, now, I can't tell you that they can log into the police software and access the same things because I don't know what they're supposed to access and what they're not. But they do have access to the OmniGo, the software the police use. They do have access to that. There's a court module for court-related activities. There's a police module. There's all different modules that you can add to this software. So I'm not sure that they are allowed to go in and look at their arrest records and stuff. My guess is they can. They can see the court-related activities.
They can, okay.
Mr.
There was
Mayor.
a concern that had came up, and the other is public works. Will they be able to communicate as well? Because
They're on my network today, and they will be, their connection will be faster.
and one other question, Mr. Mayor, we had purchased GPS for police department and fire. We had purchased those, so you're saying that those are going to become obsolete?
Purchased what?
GPS. We had
Oh.
purchased some with a contract of, I don't know I can't recall the length of time, maybe been 3 years with that contract, because I think we purchased like 45 or maybe 40 of them. And then Public Works and the police department were actually sharing radios. So, but we did purchase because our former Chief Armstrong brought that to our attention. And we did a contract because I asked what was the warranty on them. We would get a warranty, and the warranty was separate. So had all of that expired, and are we going to we would be able to use those same GPS, or we have to get all new equipment to be in sync with your program that you're.
I didn't realize that the police were not tracking their vehicles. They went out and purchased a separate system. I think we're paying $700. They are paying $750 a month for that. That GPS function is built into these modems on these police cars. Now, it has to have somewhere to send it. I don't think they had a contract or a destination to send it. And they also have to be able to log in and see a map to see where their car is. And there's other things like breadcrumbs. You can see how far back they went. You can see if they made a hard right turn too fast. You can see the OBD2 port in the car can tell you that it had a cylinder misfire on cylinder 4 at this day and time, which could potentially help Justin when he was doing these things. But they went out and contracted a separate one. Now, I was told that's month to month.
Okay.
And that we could drop that
Okay.
if we do get new GPS in the police cars and go with one vendor. Because right now we're paying for a cellular AT&T connection and a C-Spire connection.
I just was questioning.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, sir. I like what Mr. Peralta and Mr. Denby are proposing for us to look at. And I agree with Alderman Frazier. We need more discussions on it as far as cost estimates and other issues. But I am disturbed to hear that IDs and passports may be shared.
Yes,
That's a security issue as
It
well
is.
as accountability and confidentiality.
yes.
So that needs to be
And that
stopped.
needs to be stopped. It does. At this time, though, Alderman Dillard.
Yes, sir. I'll keep them short. Has the city attorney reviewed these contractual agreements?
Yes.
One, I think we need to point out the terms, and I found it on one of these pages, it's 60 months.
Yes, sir.
And this offer is good until April the 30th.
They will adjust that. He just gave me an updated copy today. But they will update it.
I'm concerned about some of these. I want to better understand. It seems in here that they have the wherewithal to be able to change the rates and the tolls and the fees. I wasn't clear when I read through that to satisfy myself. I don't want to be one of these agreements that the first 60 days is a sweetheart deal, and then after that, they bring the big dog out with the teeth. I hope that we review those things. And as far as the terms for termination, what constitutes that? It sounds to me like here their responsibility on the consumer side of it from a point of demarcation, from that to the service provider. I just want to be certain that we have looked at these closely, and we'll have more questions on it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Dillard. I'll call for the question.
Paul,
The question has been called. Second? All right, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion to take this under advisement, say aye.
aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Peralta. Very good job. We'll hopefully be able to look at this again. If you could have those conversations quickly, we will have another meeting next Tuesday, and we would be happy to put this on the agenda again if the board so desires. Yes, Alderman Frazier.
May I, just right quick, would you also ask them have a meeting with the police chief and fire chief and let them get together?
Yes, sir.
The two.
We will make sure that happens. Thank you, Alderman Frazier. At this time, we have an item that we need to discuss, potential donation of property to the city of Natchez. We are going to need to very likely go into an executive session to discuss this matter. There are some confidential matters that very likely will have to be discussed. We will need a motion to enter executive session regarding.
So moved.
Mr. Mayor, we
wait
need a
one
closed
second.
determination.
Yes. Our city attorney is going to guide us in the proper motion we need at this moment.
At this point, Mr. Mayor, we need a motion for a closed determination. Have a quick meeting on that, followed by a motion to go into executive session if that's deemed appropriate.
All right. Do I have a motion to have a closed determination?
Get to that motion.
And the motion made by Alderman Dillard,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Any opposed to that motion? If not, motion carries. We will now go into a closed determination. We will need to clear the room for that. We will ask Chandler to remain with us for this portion of the meeting. Motion to end the closed determination, did we?
I don't think we need to end the closed determination unless we just move to go into executive session. It's just,
We'll have this motion.
in your exercise.
All right. Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
I have a motion that I'm going to read. Are we good? All right, we are back open. Our closed determination is concluded. We now need a motion to enter into executive session regarding a prospective business opportunity of the city, which involves confidential information at this time, especially recognizing that the potential donor has stated that he will not complete the transaction if specific information regarding the potential donation is revealed to the public at this time.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Alderwoman Hall and a second by Alderwoman Irving. Any discussion on the motion? We will proceed to a vote. Any opposed to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll now go into executive session. Sarah, you're on the phone, aren't you?
I am.
Okay. Yes. We're ending the go-to meeting right now, aren't we? Okay, she's on the phone. All right, tell us when you're ready and we will get there. And All right. We are back in regular session. Our executive session, we held a discussion of a confidential matter involving a potential donation of property to the city of Natchez. Now that that discussion is complete, no action was taken, but a motion was made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Irving, and unanimously agreed to end the executive session and to return to regular session. And so we are now back in our regular session. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to allow the attorney for the city of Natchez, one, to retain an appraiser on behalf of the city of Natchez to evaluate the fair market value of the proposed donation, to investigate and assess the proposed donation and report back to the Board of Aldermen. 2, to engage an inspector to conduct a Phase 1 environmental study if necessary. And 3, authorizing the mayor to execute any contract required by the appraiser to assess the value of the proposed transaction. And this is being entitled Project Phoenix.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Dillard. Any discussion on the motion? I'll entertain the question.
Call.
Second.
Second.
We will now proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Alderman, Alderwomen. That concludes our meeting for today. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderman Irving. Alderwoman Irving, any opposed to the motion? We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.